Russia thought it had finally found the move that would turn the war in its favor. A $5 billion master plan, months in the making, involving hidden logistics corridors, new electronic warfare systems, secret fuel reserves, and a coordinated offensive designed to overwhelm Ukrainian defenses in one brutal, calculated sweep. On paper, it was flawless. In the Kremlin, it was celebrated as the operation that would end Ukraine's resistance for good. But Ukraine uncovered it, and in a single night, the entire plan collapsed into pure chaos. The operation began when Ukrainian intelligence intercepted a small, fragmented transmission near the occupied east. At first, analysts dismissed it as routine battlefield chatter, but one phrase repeated twice. Package Corona, Phase 1. No one in Ukrainian intelligence had ever heard the codename. That alone was unusual. Within minutes, multiple signals teams were mobilized. Satellite uplinks were activated. Thermal scans were ordered over Russian transport hubs. 6 hours later, they found it. Russia had been quietly constructing a massive parallel supply network stretching from Voronezh to the Donbass, hidden inside civilian transport routes, disguised as humanitarian aid shipments. But these weren't aid trucks. They were armored containers. Inside them, thousands of artillery shells, anti-tank missiles, drone components, and fuel. Enough supplies to sustain a shock offensive for weeks. Enough to overwhelm 3 Ukrainian brigades. But that was just one part of the $5 billion plan. The second part was far more dangerous. Russian engineers had recently deployed a next-gen electronic warfare shield, nicknamed Corona, designed to jam drones, blind radars, and scramble communications across an entire region. Russia believed that if they could blind Ukrainian frontline units for even an hour, they could break through before defenders regrouped. The third part involved staging elite airborne units near critical highways. The idea was simple. Once Ukraine's defenses buckled, Russian forces would pour in fast, seize key towns, cut off logistics, and collapse the entire front line like a house of cards. It was bold, expensive, painstakingly assembled, and completely dependent on surprise. But Russia didn't get surprise. Ukraine dissected the entire operation in one night. The information moved fast. The commander-in-chief was briefed before dawn. Within hours, Ukraine's intelligence, aviation, cyber units, and special forces were syncing in real time. Maps updated by the minute. Drone feeds streamed nonstop. Thermal scans showed trucks moving through the forest like ants on a hidden trail. By evening, Ukraine had a complete picture of the $5 billion plan. And by midnight, they were already moving to destroy it. The first strike hit at 2:19 a.m. A swarm of Ukrainian drones, cheap, fast, and nearly silent, descended on a Russian convoy outside Luhansk. Russian drivers didn't even know they were under attack until the third drone exploded. In 27 seconds, 7 trucks were burning. The hidden supply artery Russia spent months building was suddenly exposed. 2 hours later, Ukraine launched the second phase, a cyber assault on Russia's new Corona jamming system. While drones hit the convoys, Ukrainian cyber teams attacked the electrical grids powering the jammers. They hit routers, command terminals, even personnel networks. In one coordinated push, half the jammers went offline. Minutes later, Ukrainian drones that had previously been scrambled suddenly came back online with full signal. The battlefield lit up. Every Russian asset that thought it was invisible was now exposed. Fuel depots, supply columns, artillery parks, even a forward command post that had been operating in complete electronic darkness. Ukraine struck all of them. But the real chaos began at dawn. Russian airborne units had already moved into attack positions. Their orders were clear. Once Ukraine's communications went dark, they would strike. But instead of darkness, they found something else. Ukrainian forces fully awake, fully coordinated, and already firing. The first Russian wave landed near a forest line and was immediately hit by anti-drone artillery that Ukraine positioned hours earlier after discovering their flight path. Several helicopters were forced to drop troops prematurely. Men scrambled in panic as Ukrainian drones circled overhead like hunting birds waiting for the perfect moment to descend. Meanwhile, Russian commanders inside the region were experiencing their own nightmare. They were under attack, but their communication networks were collapsing. Some units received old orders. Others received no orders at all. A few were left completely blind. Without updated intel, They pushed forward into areas Ukraine had deliberately prepared as kill zones. That's when the second major blow landed. At 7:45 a.m., Ukraine deployed long-range drones to hit fuel reserves Russia had hidden near the border. These reserves were supposed to sustain the offensive for days. Instead, they ignited into massive fireballs that burned so hot satellites captured them in infrared. Without fuel, Russia's trucks ground to a halt. Tanks got stuck. Artillery couldn't relocate. Everything froze. What was meant to be a lightning strike, to slice through Ukrainian defenses, turned into a silent metal graveyard of stalled equipment, burning fuel, and stranded soldiers. But Ukraine wasn't finished. At 9:30 a.m., Special Forces teams executed the operation's most dangerous phase, capturing Russian intelligence officers involved in planning the $5 billion offensive. Ukrainian operators cut through the back roads, neutralizing outposts quietly, methodically. They struck a hidden safe house near Severodonetsk, capturing encrypted files, communication codes, and detailed maps outlining every Russian objective. Those files revealed the most shocking detail of all. Russia had prepared an entire secondary offensive in case the first succeeded. It involved pushing even deeper into Ukrainian territory, seizing water facilities, power stations, and crossroads, essentially preparing to freeze entire regions into submission. Ukraine now knew everything. The entire house of cards collapsed. Russian units still trying to follow the original plan found themselves surrounded, ambushed, or cut off. Artillery was struck before it could fire. Tanks ran dry. Electronic warfare stations malfunctioned. Drone operators lost contact with their aircraft. Some Russian commanders tried to retreat. Others tried to push forward blindly. Many reported total confusion. What followed wasn't a battle. It was chaos. Every Russian mistake multiplied. Units collided with each other. Reinforcement convoys got stuck behind burning vehicles. Radio channels jammed with panic. Russian commanders began contradicting themselves. Some ordered retreat. Others ordered forward movement. A few went completely silent. By noon, the operation that Russia spent $5 billion on, construction, logistics, technology, fuel, bribes, secrecy, was in ruins. And Ukraine had spent almost nothing to destroy it. The final phase came when Ukrainian HIMARS units struck the last surviving fuel hubs north of the front line. These hubs were Russia's fallback lifeline, their last hope of salvaging the operation. The missiles hit in perfect sequence. One exploded, then the next, then the last. Each explosion sent shockwaves through the Russian command chain. By mid-afternoon, Russia's offensive was officially dead. What remained was debris, confusion, and a trail of burned-out vehicles stretching across the border zones. Russian state media rushed to blame temporary setbacks. Military bloggers called it a catastrophic miscalculation. Some described it as the biggest operational collapse since the start of the invasion. Ukraine didn't gloat. It didn't celebrate. It simply studied the aftermath, analyzed recovered intelligence, and reinforced its positions as if expecting the next move. Because Ukraine understood something Russia didn't. This wasn't about a $5 billion plan failing. It was about a nation learning, adapting, and striking smarter than a much larger adversary. And on that night, through intelligence, speed, precision, and pure discipline, Ukraine didn't just foil a Russian plan. It exposed Russia's weakness. It showed the world that money, secrecy, and grand strategy mean nothing if the other side thinks faster. And it proved one thing above all. You cannot defeat a country that refuses to stop learning.